when we had our sessions, in my notes, somewhere I wrote down, Kaigu spent his money on alcohol and girls.
Really?
What?
Oh, that part is a bit true.
Okay. So firstly, for the guys that don't know, because I manage other esports as well, Kaigu here I've known for since Team Liab. I think that was like 2019, right?
Yeah.
And back then you were a League of Legends player.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you're
was.
still playing, right? And then yeah, so that's where the original team that I worked for you, well, with you guys on at Team Liab before you transitioned to Wildrift. So tell me about like a little bit about like yourself, like give yourself a brief introduction of what you've been doing and all that kind of good stuff.
Hi, I'm Lance Hernandez, also known as Kaigu. I'm 28 years old and I'm currently the head coach for Wildrift, RRQ Wildrift.
Right, right. So
Oh,
like actually it came as a surprise to me because I was actually just working on at the time I was like doing Axie related stuff. And then RRQ reached out to me and they're like, "Yo, Kaigu recommended you. We need like an esports site coach. Could you help us out?" So I was actually quite surprised because I wasn't really in contact with you ever since Liab, so I didn't know what was like going on with your life and stuff. How did you get into Wild Rift?
well, league was dying in the league scene in the Philippines was dying at that time,
Mm-hmm.
so it was just the natural choice for most of the league players to switch into Wildrift since it's something new and
Right.
it's something fresh from Riot Games.
When did Wild Rift come out? What year?
Well, Alpha started around June of 2020.
Right. Okay. So it's sort of recent. It's been like
Yeah.
1-2 years now. Cool. All right. So like, okay. So I got a few things that I want to go through with you first. These are just like casual like lols questions. So the first one was, I remember checking your Wikipedia like months ago, and then there was like a subpart under your name that says you like to eat donuts all the time, even while you're in the middle of a tournament. Can you confirm this? Or was that
That's
just a
not true at all.
was that a
That's
troll? Like, did one of the
that was
boys
troll.
troll?
That was something troll.
Did you
I
see
don't know
that?
who put.
Did you
I don't
see
know
that?
who put that. Yeah, I did. But
You saw it on, okay, because I was like, what is going on here under the trivia section? All
I
right,
didn't
cool.
even bother to
And
change
then
it.
the second thing in my notes here, when we had our sessions, in my notes, somewhere I wrote down, Kaigu spent his money on alcohol and girls.
Really?
What?
Oh, that part is a bit true.
Okay, what? So like, okay, so like, I think this was about like, back in your league days, you guys had like really like a lot of success a part of your the different teams that you played on, and even when I went through your Wikipedia page and stuff, there was like heaps of results that you guys got. um how like your career spanned like what, a decade in league,
Yeah, more or less.
right?
Yeah, more or
And
less.
you guys are quite dominant in the scene, right?
Yeah.
Like how did you guys find the Philippine scene versus the Asian scene versus Worlds, and how would that compare to the Wild Rift scene, and how you felt it is in the Philippines
Oh,
here?
are we talking about league?
Well, yeah, how would you compare like how you felt about being a competitor in League? And I know you're a coach now in Wild Rift, but if you were to put yourself into a player seat, how would you compare the scenes, and how is it different?
Well, when we were playing league before, it always felt like we were the underdogs,
Mm-hmm.
es- especially when it comes into international competition.
Right, right, okay.
But it's very different in Wild Rift because the Philippines and Southeast Asia as a whole is respected as a region.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's considered the number two region in the world. So
Right,
there's a very very big difference.
right.
So it feels really good.
Okay. So like, would you say that like, cause I do a lot of like work trying to figure out like different psychological aspects and how to develop players and different things. I was saying that, do you think it's got to do with mobile phone penetration in the Southeast Asian scene and how the grassroots development is better for like mobile gaming as opposed to PC gaming? Because historically, the Southeast Asian scene hasn't been as strong in PC games on for most genres of competitive esports. So would you say it's got to do with like the number of players, or like what are your views on that?
Yeah, I think it has to do with like there are a lot of there are more mobile players playing Wildrift compared to PC before because
Hmm.
it's morely accessible, right? It's more
Right.
accessible to the Filipinos.
Right.
So yeah.
And then like so like on the flip side of it, do you think that's just say like we gave hypothetical situation every Filipino or Southeast Asian player a PC, sort of like the Western world, how everyone has access to a PC, and everyone has access to PC games since young. Do you think that Southeast Asia would be a more competitive region, stacking up to the rest of the world in League, for example, or other games?
I think there's not only you need to provide PCs, but they need the proper infrastructure like better coaching systems and better support systems for the teams
Right,
for the for the PC scene to develop as well.
right. Whereas, like, okay, so that's still the thing, but you guys are still really good at mobile gaming, right? Would you say your
Yeah.
coaching system is better for mobile gaming than PC?
Well, I think as of now, yeah, because right
Right,
now, right now we have two coaches working on the Wild Rift team.
right. Okay, so you didn't have that kind of support when you played PC games before.
Only on during the latter half of my career.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
The first half was like it was us just players. Like
Okay,
we were
interesting.
coaching ourselves. There.
Yeah, yeah, because usually, like, most of the teams that I've worked on, by the time that they get to, like, hiring a development coach like me, it's very, like, secondary or tertiary already. Like, so every team that has already, like, got my services has already, like, being very established. They already have a lot of infrastructure and resources already. So that's cool perspective. Also, okay, but getting into the nitty gritty and stuff, how was your insane run to Worlds? Like, I remember when I first joined the team and we were working on stuff. We wouldn't even know if you guys would qualify, like get out of
Yeah,
Philippines region, and then next thing you know, you guys got like what is it like top 8 at Worlds,
yeah,
right? That's pretty crazy. So I have here you were fifth place at WCS, and then you went into top 8 at Worlds. That's like insane, right? So no one really
yeah,
expected that. Like,
yeah. No one really.
yeah. So how tell me about it. Like how was that run, and like how did you feel about it?
I think there was just one point in the WCS Philippine tournament that
Mhm.
everything clicked for our team.
Mhm.
So we just rode that momentum up until the grand finals.
Right. Like even the Asia qualifiers, like you guys like barely scraped in to qualify to play for Asia, right? Was it
What
like
do you
the
mean?
was it like the top 2 Philippine teams get to go to Asia?
Yeah.
And you guys like got second, is that right?
No, we got first.
Oh, you got first in the Philippines. And then for
Yeah.
Asia, what did you have to be like?
We we had to be top four in Asia to get into Worlds, and
Okay.
we managed top three.
Oh, you got top 3. Okay. So
Yeah.
like Asia, so like getting top 3 in Asia, would you expect that that would convert to like a top 8 in Worlds?
Yeah, I think we kind of expected that because
Hmm.
yeah, everyone was thinking that like how Southeast Asia is a strong region compared to the other regions.
Right, right. Okay.
So it was more or less expected from the Southeast Asian teams to do well
Right.
in
So
our
as
tournament.
long as you like get god tier draws in the worlds, and you should be good if you get paired up against some of the other regions and stuff. You should predictably make top 8 or something like that. So that's interesting to know. That means like going into future worlds, if like the regions stay as they are, as long as you qualify for Asia, you got a pretty good chance of making top 8, um, which is sort of a big deal. Like the prizes and stuff get pretty big for top 8. Even though it's listed as 40,000, there's also a split from the sales of the skin, right?
Yeah,
It's an equal
so
split.
there's that.
Yeah, like that's crazy. Have they let you guys know how much, roughly how much that is so far, or not yet?
I don't know, but I think the Valorant team before like Secret,
Mm.
from what I heard, they earned like 3 million pesos each.
Jesus Christ, that's
But
insane.
that's Valorant,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Valorant,
I don't
like
know.
people
Valorant,
generally do spend a little bit more on Valorant. I think I notice people buy a lot of skins and stuff, but
yeah,
um, yeah, I think I'm not sure about Wildrift. Like it could still be pretty big. We'll see how it goes
yeah,
when it
we'll
gets
see.
there. Yeah. Which tournament did you have the big lower bracket run? Was that in the Asia level tournament?
No, that was the Philippine
That
tournament.
was the Philippine tournament. So you guys
Yeah.
got like knocked down to What round did you guys get kicked down to lower bracket? Like really
The
early on, I
first
remember.
round. The first round.
The
It
first
was the
round, you
first
guys got
round.
lower bracket, and then you did like an entire lower bracket run all the way to finals,
Yeah.
and then you guys won. How many games was that in the lower bracket?
Wait, let me count. Because the first series was against Oasis, and then
Right.
Grind Sky, and then Underground, and then I think we did around 4 series to win the championship.
Right. That like
Yeah, or best of five.
going into that tournament, where would you have placed yourself? I remember you guys, like, we were talking about it. It was mostly like consistency issues that you guys had, but you guys knew that like if you guys could pull things together, that you would be like one of the top teams in the Philippines. And obviously, it honestly didn't take that long. Maybe like a month or something. You guys already like found your groove a little bit more. Um, where did you feel that at the start of like when I just arrived, where you guys belonged in the Philippines scene? Like if you were to give an honest opinion on your ranking in the Philippines and maybe on the world scale too.
Probably around third or fourth in the Philippines.
Yep.
Yeah,
And if you were to compete at like worlds at the same, like taking that team early on, where would you place yourself?
maybe top 16.
Top 16? That's still not too bad, honestly. That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, Cool. So like it didn't take that long for you guys to improve, and like I noticed that there was a lot of improvements. Um, very. It didn't take very long for you guys to like get better. I was a little bit worried about like you guys had like some problems with some of the players like with internal disputes and stuff. But once you guys ironed that out, that was pretty good. Um, but we'll get into like I wanted to talk a little bit. I remember one time how you got like into an argument with the players too. I want to talk about a bit about that later. You guys finished top 8 in Worlds, but I saw that you guys like updated your roster recently, right?
Yeah.
So like what did the RRQ management have in mind regarding to like the roster changes and stuff, and how do you think that it's going to improve the team chemistry?
I think because we have an upcoming tournament in, I think it's around next month. That,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not as, there's not much bearing to it compared to the world tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're gonna use that tournament as an opportunity to like try out some roster changes
Mm-hmm.
and see if they're for the better.
Okay.
So what we're doing now is completely experimental.
Right, right, okay.
It's a risk, basically.
Right, because like from my perspective, whoops, sorry, my mic dropped. From my perspective, were you guys happy with a top 8 like finish, or were you guys like,
No, no, we wanted to at least top four.
oh, you guys want at least top 4? So that's why like some of the roster changes you also had in mind because you guys want to go a little bit further next time. Okay, that makes sense. Because I was thinking like top I wouldn't know like what you guys were aiming for, so I was thinking if you guys like top 8 sounds pretty good to me. So I was curious as to why you guys decided to fix up your roster considering the improvements that you've had in the short term. All right, so like when you were a league player, did how long did it take you to like adjust to like roster changes and all that kind of stuff? How did it work always, or were there times where like the roster changes didn't work and it was actually worse?
I think, yeah, it takes time to adjust to roster changes, like
Mm,
maybe around a month. But sometimes they're for the better, and sometimes it's for the worse. Especially with imports, because there's like always a language barrier.
right.
Because that communication can't be as detailed. Because when you're speaking like 4 or 5 Filipino team,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I remember with Liab, you guys had 2 Korean players, right?
yeah.
And the language was one thing that we spoke about at the time also. Did you find that it was challenging for you playing with 2 Korean players at the time because of the language barrier?
Yeah, it was challenging, but I think it was worth it just because of how good they were.
Right, right. And you guys,
I think this is just such a trade-off.
yeah, you guys did really well also, right? On Liab during that time.
Yeah.
I want to get into like talking about your transition to becoming a coach. Um, because you were playing League up until what was it, 2019, 2020,
I think at the start of 2020, yeah, early 2020, yes, I was still
2020.
playing.
Right. And then you transitioned to Wildrift. Did you start as a player first, or did you jump straight into coaching instead?
Well, I jumped straight into coaching. Actually, I really had no plans like to be a Wildrift coach because back at the time that Kingmaker decided to hire me or contact me, I was about to go study.
Oh, you're going to go back to school. What did you have in
Yeah,
plan? What did you have in mind for school?
I think I wanted to take nursing.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
But then you got contacted, and then
yeah,
here you are going back to
here we are.
Worlds all of a
Yeah.
sudden. That's crazy. How was your transition from being a player to a coach?
Well, at first it was quite hard because I really have no idea what. Yeah, basically I had no idea what to do. So I just remembered the times that I was being coached by our coach in Liab and Mineski,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I just pulled out what I had in my memory from those times,
Right.
like what they did,
Right.
and then I made my own style.
Right.
Yeah,
Like Liab was cabbage, right?
yeah, it's cabbage.
Right. And he's like pretty OG in the league scene, in the
Yeah, he
actual league
was.
scene. Yeah. Cool. So you guys had you obviously had like good mentors and stuff going into it, so you had good experience already going into it. The big thing about coaching, right? Like, I'm like a secondary coach. You guys do the main stuff, and then I coach like all
Yeah.
the out of game related stuff. And when I watch your games, I get like so nervous and stressed watching the players and stuff, right? Because like as a
Mm.
coach, you watch the players do stuff, and like for me, I'm looking at like the mental related stuff in the performance. I'm thinking in my head like, oh, I hope they're taking breaks properly. I hope they're utilizing their breaks properly and stuff. But I don't have any control over it because obviously I'm on like when you guys were playing at Worlds, I was in another country and stuff. So I remember messaging you like, make sure the guys like, like cool off and take a break. So for you, going from a player to a coach, is it really stressful? Like, because you can't physically be in the game, right? You're just observing. So like what emotions go through your head as you're like thinking about this?
I think it's also stressful as a coach because the team's performance ultimately it reflects on how you teach them, and
Right?
if they
Exactly,
do
right?
well,
Right.
then yeah, you're gonna look like a good coach. But if they do pretty bad, then yeah, you're gonna look like shit too.
Yeah, exactly. Like every time like the team gets tilted, I'm like, "Oh my God, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better?" Because it's my job, right? So for you, it's the same thing. And like did you ever feel like there were times where like I know early on, I remember during scrims at least when I was there to observe you guys and stuff, that there are times in scrims where early on the team wasn't consistent and you would throw like big gold leads and stuff, and then you'll get like frustrated at the players and stuff like that. Did that ever happen during tournaments and stuff? Um, like you got frustrated because there was something that you felt that could have been done better, and how did you handle that and manage that?
Yeah, actually, it happened a few times during our tournaments, and yeah, I got there was one time I got really mad, and hope thankfully there was JM who was the other coach who like calmed me down and
Right,
stuff because
right,
it was a pretty big gold lead as well.
right. And you
So it still happens in tournaments.
was this the Worlds or was this on the Asia tournament?
No, that was the Philippine
Other
qualifier.
Philippine qualifiers. Okay, so at least like this happened more early on, and
Yeah,
okay, and you managed it out. Okay, so going into your second season, what do you plan to take into it, and what do you feel like you're going to be working on mostly with the RRQ roster?
well, we have to, of course, we have to defend our crown, and we have to maintain that top spot in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, I think we needed some roster changes, so
Right.
that's what we're doing now.
Okay.
So our job is to develop our roster into a championship winning roster again
Right.
from the remaining players that we have. So yeah,
Cool. Cool.
that's our goal for now.
Cool. And out of curiosity, like, what is the recruitment process when you guys like decide on a roster change? Where do you like find these players from? These extra players that that replace the team? Is it, do you guys put like an ad out on Facebook or something, or like are there tryouts, or is it referrals?
Oh, they're actually just old players from RRQ that either left or got kicked before. But yeah,
Okay,
so we're just trying things out,
okay,
basically.
cool, cool. So it's like experimental phase. When is your next qualifying run for Worlds? When does it start again?
I think it's around next year, so we have a lot of time actually.
Okay, okay. So it's going to be a lot of like mostly local tournaments, or are there going to be
Yeah,
other tournaments also? Are there any like
there.
world tournaments that are not like the Riot Worlds? Is there any like other ones?
I'm not sure, but probably. I'm not sure though.
Okay, cool.
But for the Southeast Asia ones, I think there are gonna be some tournaments. Yeah.
Right. And are the Southeast Asian tournaments usually like LAN, or is it usually you just play at boot camp?
I think the next one will be LAN.
LAN.
It's gonna be in Thailand.
Oh, it's gonna be in Thailand, so you're gonna have to bounce to Thailand to play. Do
Yeah,
you
if we
guys?
qualify.
Okay. Do you guys get any like insta free invites because you guys made top 8 in Worlds? And just
Oh,
like due to ranking, you guys get
we
invites?
got invited to the playoffs on the
Okay.
next tournament.
Oh, okay.
So we're
So
at the playoffs already.
cool,
So
cool. So you guys get to
I
skip
think
groups and everything.
yeah, we're gonna head. We're gonna face. I think the playoffs is around the top 8 teams in South. In it's Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines.
Mhm.
The top 8 teams in Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay.
So we're invited. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. Awesome. All right. So a couple of other things like I have never been able to experience a LAN. Do the LANs have like different rules in terms of like your break times in between matches and stuff? And like I know some of the players, for instance, either smoke or vape, and I know a lot of esports players smoke or vape. Um, do they let you guys do that like in the middle of like tournament, like when you guys take a break and stuff? Because like when I was watching, I remember I think it was Dota International. Like I saw like Ana and like No Tail and stuff just smoking a stick outside in between their games and stuff. Does Riot let you guys do that or no?
Uh, during icons, we weren't allowed to, or the break was so short that we weren't allowed to leave the building.
Okay, so you're stuck
So
inside.
yeah,
So like, how did the players manage that if they have like nicotine addictions and stuff? Did
uh, I'm not I'm not sure about Marky how he managed it, to be honest, because he was the one who was heavily smoking
right?
during that time.
Do you think it did? Well, he performed pretty well, so I guess it didn't really affect his performance that much. Um, I'll be curious. I'll chase him up and ask him regarding that. Do you feel like have you ever smoked before, or have you ever taken any like I wouldn't say performance enhancing drugs because that's not the word, but it sort of is. It sort of is a performance enhancing drug, like nicotine and caffeine. In your career, did you ever take like legal performance enhancing drugs like caffeine and nicotine and stuff?
Oh yeah, I just smoke. I used to smoke before when I was a player.
Okay. Did you find
Yeah,
that it helped you?
it helps relieve stress. It's the fastest stress reliever for me.
For you? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a few minutes. Like it takes you what 2 to 3 minutes to smoke a stick.
Yeah. And then it was like you took it as a break or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Um.
after every game.
All right. Okay. Well, let's not delve into too deeply because I don't want to promote smoking. So, so I'll talk about that in a probably another video or something like that regarding that. All right. Cool. Is there anything else I want to talk to you about today? That's mostly it. What was the most challenging thing you found um, for RRQ during their run, and how did you feel as a coach, like going into it?
I think the most challenging part is like every week we had issues. Like it's a different issue every week.
Oh,
So we always had to work to solve those issues.
I
Yeah,
remember. I remember that because like every time I get a phone call, I'm like, okay, what's going on this week?
it's a
What's the
different
problem this week?
issue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Um, but they did get solved one by one, right?
Yeah.
So are you looking with the new roster that things will be more stable? So, because like for me also like I feel like I don't know from your perspective, but from my perspective, I feel like too much time was allocated towards like the mental development or just like not the actual improving in-game stuff, more like the out stuff. I felt like we had to allocate a lot of energy towards that. Do
Yeah,
you feel the same way? Like it was like instead of just playing and improving, there were like so many other random stuff that you guys had to spend time on.
yeah. We had a lot of things that we had to fix outside of the game as well,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
especially with player behavior.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's why, like, one of the reasons why I was like called up. But if not for the player behaviors, I wouldn't have had a job. So 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 that's a the plus side on it. Um, is that common in like the esports scene? Because I noticed that mobile gamers, in my experience of coaching, generally have a little bit more problems than some of the PC gamers, and I don't know if it's because mobile gaming is newer and the players aren't as mature and they don't have like professional experience as opposed to the PC players. Is that something you've noticed as well?
I think it's most notable on the younger players.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe they're not just as mature as the PC players.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so your team also had like a good mix of like EXO was on the team, your old teammate, who was also on Team
Mm.
Liab before, and he captained the team. Um, do you feel like you needed that like mature figure in the team to help like balance out the younger energy?
Yeah, I think so because without a mature player on the team, it would just be chaos.
Right.
So at least 1 to 2 members should be veterans. That's what I think.
Right. Okay. So going into other teams, like okay, so if you were to like if you were a consultant for a professional esports organization, what are your like top 5 tips for like constructing a team? Like what your top 5 priorities?
Well, first need to have 1 to 2 veterans,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, well, obviously you need them to be coachable,
Mm-hmm.
and then third is they need to have the mechanical skills to be top tier or world class.
Okay.
And then what else? I think being coachable and having good behavior is in the
It,
same boat.
it's a really rare trait, huh? Being coachable,
Yeah,
actually, because there's a lot
yeah,
of
that's a
very
really rare.
mechanically gifted players, but like there's not that many mechanically gifted players that are also coachable.
Yeah, and then what's number 5? Hmm, can I do top 4?
Yeah, yeah, sure, that's fine. Top four is fine. Okay, like last question regarding it. Did you feel like how did you feel like the like I worked on it was like on paper I'm supposed to be like a esports psych development coach, right? But I work on like other stuff too. Like I help you guys with like your sleeping routine, your eating, your meals, and I told them to get you guys like a cook and fix that stuff up and we integrated like a sports routine to it. So I consider myself more as like a performance coach. How do you feel that? Did you feel like it? Like, firstly, did you feel like it helped the team? And secondly, do you think are there other teams in the Philippines and Asia right now that have like a coach that does that stuff? And do you think that if they don't, they would benefit from it?
Yeah, I think it absolutely helped the team, and as of now, I don't think that any other teams hire the performance coaches to help boost the team performance.
Yeah, at least in Asia,
Oh yeah,
right?
it could be beneficial to them.
Yeah, because I know that it's more of a Western thing. Like a lot of other
Yeah,
Western countries have already like picked it up with their bigger orgs and stuff. But in Asia, it hasn't been such a big thing. Cool. And yeah, like so finishing up, is there anything else that you would like to, just say any shout outs or anything like that or GG?
shout outs to RRQ, especially the management, our bosses,
Mm-hmm.
and shout outs to my family who's gonna watch this, and also to my girlfriend.
Cool, cool, cool. How did your family feel? They must have been really proud after you got back after, your event and stuff. How did they feel about it?
Yeah, they're really proud, but we actually haven't met yet, so I think we're gonna meet this weekend. This weekend.
Okay, cool, cool, cool.
So yeah,
Yeah,
once
congrats
we have
once
in touch.
again, dude. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
I honestly like haven't had the chance to speak to you in person and congratulate you ever since the Asia run.
Yeah,
Actually, once you guys hit Worlds, you guys like disappeared. Everything was like so quick. Like,
we're off the grid.
yeah, you were off the grid and you disappeared, and then I see you guys doing photo shoots and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, um, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time, man.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. Peace out.